Gracias, gracias, gracias. Thank you. It's so nice to see you. I'm so happy you came. We're going to have fun as well as some interesting conversation. And then you're going to take a test later about creative visualization. So does anybody have any questions before I start about law of attraction? Everybody knows what the law of attraction is. But lately, what people are doing with the law of attraction is they're kind of twisting it, almost enough to give you guilt, because they say you keep attracting everything into your life, good, bad, everything else. That part is not true. It's a fallacy. You attract good into your life because basically you're a good person. There's a chapter in the textbook that we study by Ernest Holmes, and it's entitled The Law of Attraction. Goes back, he wrote it the early 1900s. The Law of Attraction, actually, the first time it was written about was by a woman called Helen Blavatsky in 1869. And the title of her book, which I found so strange, I looked it up, is Isis, I-S-I-S. Interesting. She was a theophist, which at that time meant someone who believed in God the way she believed in God. So, and she had a little school and things like that. But that's the first time it was mentioned. It began gaining some interest in the 30s, and that was, his name is Prentice Mulford, and you can get his writings on the computer. Now that Prentice Mulford's teaching is what The Secret is based on. Prentice Mulford lived in Oyster Bay. He actually lived in a boat on the harbor there. And all he did, he didn't write books, he wrote essays on his thinking. In his essays, he spoke about how you attract into your life, but make decisions about how you attract into your life, which people now are kind of, they're like running away with it. In other words, if somebody has something wrong in their life, something comes up, they say, oh, you attracted that. How did I attract that? That's not true. Things are going to happen in everybody's life. I don't care if it's the Pope or, what's his name, Ice Cube. If it's the Pope or Ice Cube, they're going to attract things in their life. She's laughing. You know who Ice Cube is, right? Yeah. Okay, so that life is a journey that we have taken. We decided to take before we were born. And it's patterned out for us that you're born here, there, we have these parents, stuff like that. Things that you may be happy with or not happy with, but you get through things that happen in life. They're not going to change. You are going to get a blemish if you're a teenager. You're going to get turned down for dates if you're a young man or a young girl, you know, you'll get turned down, you'll stay. So that is, you're not attracting that. You are, to use the law of attraction, it's a decision you make. This is what I desire in life, either for me or for someone very close to me. You cannot desire that your ex-husband be shot. You cannot desire. That's not right. No, seriously. You shouldn't. You shouldn't anyway. But, okay, you have to focus on, using the law of attraction, on the good. What do you want that's good for you? What do you want that's good for your daughter, your son, your family, your husband, your boyfriend? What do you want in your life? And that, you yourself, as I started to say in the textbook, when Ernest Holmes wrote about the law of attraction, he said your entire body contains that law. You attract what you are. Similar to karma, you get back what you give. Or if you're a happy person, go to work and da-da-da-da-da, almost every day you have the same experience because you are attracting that energy. The whole thing is energy. keeping the energy up, keeping the energy high, you'll attract those things. If you decide that there's something you desire, you begin to think on it, put it down, kind of work on it. The first thing you do is you want to not keep negatives in your mind or in your life. You can attract friends, you can attract people, you can, friends, people, same thing. You can attract money into your life, success, everything that you want, as long as you're doing it for a good reason. You're not going to look to attract things for someone to be hurt or to punish someone. They call it a law. Now, there are very many laws, which we all know. Traffic laws, marriage laws, laws about children, laws about real estate and everything else. Most of those laws are broken by some people. So the law of attraction is broken, in your case, when you start to put negativity into your mind, into the thing. So the first thing to really do is not to be attached to negative things. It's like a tree branch. Think of a tree branch in your backyard. Okay, now, as I said, most people are saying, oh, the law of attraction is so important, so important. If you had a tree branch in your yard and you sat in your house and you thought, I want to use the law of attraction to move that tree branch. I'm going to use the law of attraction so strong, so strong. That branch is never going to move. But if you go outside and start to push it a little bit every day, push it a little bit every day, soon you'll get it far enough to where you can trash it. So you have the job. We all have the job. We have the job to make the movement, to create the movement. If you want to play cards, you have to open the deck. It doesn't open itself. So that's what this law of attraction does. Law of attraction also, like energy, creates like energy, as I think I might have just said that before. So what that means is you're going to attract people who are very similar to the way you are, to your way of thinking. That's what you're going to attract into your life. There are times when it's really, as again I said, karma, it's things like that. You will meet somebody who you will feel so wonderful about because your energies are meeting. And then you can go somewhere and meet someone who makes you take like 3 steps back. You don't want to be in the same room with them. You don't know that, you don't know why, but somehow your energies don't work. Now that is all part of the law of attraction, the way it works. There have been great authors about it. It has come up in Ralph Waldo Emerson, came up in, what's his name? Napoleon Hill used the law of attraction in his book about Think and Grow Rich. Then came Ernest Holmes, came many other writers who are using it. They use it to a certain point. As you know, well, Napoleon Hill doesn't, but he's very, very factual when what he writes in his book. It's almost like going to school. Ernest Holmes uses prayer or the reliance on a great power that really only wants good for us. So that's how Ernest Holmes explains it, is that you are attracting what and who you are. So that's how the good. And when you know that, you know there are some people you just can't be around. You can't. There's just something, it's an intuition, it's something else within your mind that you know you can't be with that person. It's necessary that when you use the law of attraction, I'm using it, and from my readings and stuff, similar to creative visualization, which I really think is stronger than the law of attraction, to create by visualizing. But it's necessary when you do decide, okay, this is what I'd like to have and do, that you do it with feeling. Feeling. Not because it happened for somebody else, not because the neighbor next door has something you would like to have. You have to have feeling in it. And it has to always come from a good source within you, or else it's not going to work. It just doesn't work. So when you do that, as I said, the first step is, what fear do you have when you think of the thing that you desire? Now you can write that down. Think of something that, we're going to start with only one thing, something you desire. What fear comes up in your mind? Oh, I can't have that. It's too much money. I don't think I'm good enough. Do I deserve it? All of those thoughts come running in your mind, running in your mind. So it's deep. It goes deep. We have tape recorders within our mind, and as you study in classes like this or anything else, you're going to hear a lot about the subconscious mind, subjective mind, things like that. There's something, when you wrote down what you desire and what you fear, that you may not get it, it may not come to you, that fear exists in your subconscious mind. That's where it starts. It starts there. Why is this happening to me? Why did that happen? How come it didn't come through? I didn't get the job. I didn't get this, that. All of this comes from something deep, deep within. We can't always blame parents, but there are parents, there are teachers, there are people in your life, people you respected unnecessarily, it turns out at certain times, who disappointed you, but they said something to you that stopped your, I want to almost say, growth, stopped you from achieving and accomplishing what you want. You get started up to a certain point, and then you stop. It's almost like at the point of success, you withdraw. There's a fear, and that fear came from maybe when you were a child, maybe it came when you were a young teenager or grown up. So what is the fear? What words do you have that keep repeating themselves to you over and over again? The words that I always heard was, who do you think you are? So you have to know that that exists. I'm not saying you, well, now at this point you don't deliberately not like the person or anything, but you know in yourself that you would never do that to anybody. Why do you think you don't deserve that? You don't have enough money for that. We don't have enough money for that. You know, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. Why are you always crying? Think, what's in there? What's in there? That's the thing that has to be cleared out. And that you're going to do yourself. You do that yourself. You take it out. There's things, Louise Hay, and I'm sure you all heard of Louise Hay, has an excellent exercise in her classes called peeling the onion. And that's a very, very touching exercise. As I said, first of all, why didn't you accomplish what you desire, or why don't you get what you want? This is one of the thoughts. What her suggestion is you peel the onion. You go before a mirror. Let us say you've had a bad romance, or a husband left you, or you had to get divorced, or anything like that. That's the easiest way to say it. Or your family doesn't speak to you, or sisters and brothers are not close. These are very serious things in your life. Why? You ask yourself why. 7/10 of the time, you blame yourself. You say, oh, wow, it's probably the way I am. But what made you the way you are? That's the clue. That's the thing. So I'll go back to what I was saying. I have another method, but the Louise Hay method is you sit in front of a mirror and you talk to the person or persons that hurt you, or that disappointed you, abandoned you, anything else. And you say to them, why did you do this to me? And call them by name. Even a group, if it's a group. If it's a group of people who kept you away from a job or looked down on you or something, why did you do that to me? You talk to them directly. In a book by Neville, also has this very same exercise. Now, the first time you do, and I did do that because I was going through something in my life that really wasn't very nice. And the first time you do it, you can't do it for a long time because you start to cry. Something comes up. When you're talking to this person face to face, why did you do that to me? Why did you make me lose this, that, whatever? Okay, so that you stop. You take a breath, take a drink of water, go, and the next day do it again. You do it for 5 days straight. By the end of the 5 days, you've cleared out that feeling that someone has punished you so badly. Logically, it existed at the time, but it's no longer in your subconscious mind. It's not, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. Then there's another way that you can get rid of negatives, and that's when you have to play a game almost with yourself, because negatives stop you from accomplishing. They stop you at the point where you're just going to hit that big success. The other one is you sit, and you don't do this for a long time, you do it for a short time. Okay, what is it in the back of my mind that is still hurting me? It's a negative embedded in your subconscious. Now you may laugh at the next thing is, but because we're all logical people and we're very clean people, get your Brillo and scrub it out of your subconscious mind. Scrub it. Fight it. You have to be like a bull. The subconscious mind is very tough. It loves to hold on to things. It keeps you in control. Your own subconscious mind stops you from taking that step outside the comfort zone. That's what those thoughts do. So every day or whenever you have a chance, get quiet and say, okay, what is that thought? And okay, what else is bothering me? Suppose something happens at work. Why did I react so much? Or how does that person bother me? Why is that? Again, sit down quietly by yourself and just whatever you want to use to scrub that out so it's gone. The subconscious mind likes to hold on to all the negatives because it's very comfortable. If you're a negative person, everybody agrees with you. It's fine. It's a terrible day. Oh, isn't it? It was so cold. Oh, this is awful. Oh, my husband is this. Yes, mine's the same way. Oh, my children don't listen to me. I know, aren't they awful? So negatives bring people together. But if you try to say, I have the greatest husband in the world, they'll go, that's what she thinks, you know. Well, that's what he thinks. You know, so who you're surrounded with accounts for a lot. If you surround yourself with people who are on this line to learning, to growing, to want to get out of that black hole, so to speak, you'll feel more comfortable. As you go along in this teaching or cleansing yourself, you're going to find friends drop off along the way. They don't agree with what you're saying because you're different, as I said in the talk this morning. When you're different, it's just a Dilma knows, you know, whatever job you work in. Carol knows, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes according to where you're working or when you worked or who you work with, that if you're happy, somebody's always saying, something's wrong with that person. I don't understand it. So it's true. How come she thinks, oh, she's just making that up, stuff like that. So that is more of using the law of attraction. These are the things you have to clean out. Before you invite your mother-in-law to your house, you better make your bed with clean sheets. It's the same thing. I love you. You laugh at my jokes. Thank you. Okay, the other thing is appreciate all the good in your life. Just think of that. Think of how nice that is. Think of so much. There's so much. Sometimes before the day is over, you don't even remember how many good things happened to you that day. And that could be as much as somebody smiles at you or says, gee, you look really nice today. All of those things, they lighten your heart up. Or I feel so good every time I see you. All of those things lighten you up. And we all have it within us to do that for life, to make people happy. I mean, don't do like Carol does. She does like a tap dance before she goes sits at her desk. It's kind of funny because she works for Indians. So they wonder why she's tapping. But that's a joke. Okay. Now, again, before this session, before we go into creative visualization, write your desire, or write this every day. I'm so happy and grateful because once a day at night, you will find your heart lighten up. In the folder that I gave you, a lot of this information, most of it is all in there. That's on the law of attraction. Creative visualization is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a great thing. It's a great tool. It's not a tool, it's a living experience that we all have and all can do. Because our thought is magnetic. The things we think, we're creating all the time. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's creating and working towards a goal that you may have, something that you really want in your life. As we go along with a little more talk, think of the one thing that you would like to have in your life, because the questions are going to rely on that one thing. When you do creative visualization, it's not difficult, but it's using your mind as well as your belief system in creating something that really is already yours, but you can't see it because you can't accept it at this point. Because you think, oh, that's a dream, I can't have that. That's a dream, I can't have that. But that's because that's the way we're raised. Don't ask for too much, I was trying to think of another quote, but it was really very down, so I put it out of my head. When things are too good, don't be happy or something, You may think that it's difficult. You may think you can use this for health, for prosperity, for relationships, for anything. You can use creative visualization. You want to know that the thing you want is going to be yours and is going to come in form. Because sometimes all it is one little thought that you have that begins to manifest. When you take your hands off it, when you don't push and pull at it, you open yourself to this and it will manifest. The moment you start to get worrisome thoughts, feelings of not being good enough, feelings that, oh, that's a dream, I'll never have that dream. That's what comes in. It's like little niches, little mosquito bites on your apple. Some explanation that is. It's once I was doing a workshop, Ann loves this, right? But it's true though. God, you can call God anything you want. You can say God, divine essence, perfect beauty, the infinite, and Charlie. I said, Charlie, you can call him Charlie. If you feel comfortable calling God Charlie, that's good. I'm going to call on Charlie now. Sounds easy, doesn't it? It doesn't say, I'm going to ask God. So I'm going to just call Charlie and see what he'll do for me. You know, her and her husband couldn't get over it when I told him that, but it was a funny thing. Okay, to do creative visualization, you have to have a desire, something that you want, something that you may need. If it's prosperity, maybe you need prosperity in your life, but you desire it. We don't say want, we say desire. We don't say need, we say desire. Because what you want to do with your words is be in charge. You want to be the ones in charge. You don't want to get back to the begging stage. I beg for this and I beg for that. You don't want to. That's the way people keep control on you, when you feel you have to beg to have something. They're in control, you're the asker. The same thing when somebody says, well, listen, you know, I'm your boss. And your response should be, oh no, I only have one boss, and he's up there. Remember that. Only one boss. You don't have a boss. That's how people control us, because they think they're in charge, but they're not in charge. They're not in charge. They won't even have a scooter when they leave this earth. They're lucky if they have roller skates. Anyway, so the first thing to visualize is have a true belief that you're going to create the thing you choose to have. And ask yourself, do I believe that this goal exists, that it can be for me? And convince yourself. There's the thing. It's always a love of self comes in here. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Just like the little, was that tugboat? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Little bus? What was it? The little engine. The little engine. Little engine. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. The next thing now this is with the one thing, you have to be willing to accept the responsibility that may come with the thing you desire. There may be responsibilities. I mean, if you become a famous movie star, you may have to go live in Hollywood. True. If you a singer, you must spend most of your time practicing, working at it, doing that. You have to give some of yourself to your goal, you know? And then you ask yourself, am I willing to do these things to have my goal? These questions are just for yourself. We put those three things together and they become your intention. These are the elements: desire, belief, acceptance. And if you put them together, D-A-B is dab. A little dabble, do you? Sometimes if you're uncertain about what this goal is, go over it, change it, move it around, choose something else, but don't put more than one thing down at a time. Because then you're having a laundry list. Then you have to do da-da-da-da today. There was a young lady who came to a workshop, and she said, if she does all this stuff, she has no time to clean her house. So I said, you're not supposed to do all this in one day. Choose one thing. That truly happened. She was there. That truly happened. Yeah. I said, just one thing. She said, well, by the time I get finished meditating, then I get started on my law of attraction. Then I do creative visualization. Then I do meditation again. Then I write my goals out again. Then I look at my list again. She says, I'm doing nothing. I just stay in the living room all day. I said, one thing at a time. Just choose one of them. Do that for a day. The next day, do the other thing. I said, you have plenty of time. Can you imagine what our house looks like? No. Okay. It's not only creative visualization is not only a method, it's a discipline. It's a discipline. Did I write down today what it is? Am I thinking about the thing it is? Let's take something simple, like you want these very fancy shoes, you know, that are very expensive, or for the ladies, a pocketbook. For the guys, a motorcycle. That's a toy one, a small one. No, really. Most men all want motorcycles, most men. So you start with the one thing, and then you build on that one thing. But you focus on it. That's what you're doing. You're focusing on it because you have great, great power in your body and in your mind. That's really where you have the power. Every single moment, something creative is happening. The next thing, along with creative visualization, is no matter how you have to fight with yourself, you have to realize that you deserve it. You deserve it. Contrary to what anyone else says, you deserve it. Against all odds. That's what I would say it is. Because they're, you know, how could you do that? Or how can you do this? How could you do that? But it can be done. It can be done. And sometimes things happen in your life that are very drastic that will lead you on the pathway to do the thing you wanted to do. You know, you may have a divorce, and it's very painful and sad and everything else. But it will allow you to rise higher in another area. Maybe find someone that's you're more happier with, maybe go into a whole new job, industry or something, but it will push you forward. It's like the universe is pushing you forward. So sometimes when things in your life are hard to get over, there's a reason for that. It's putting you on a different pathway.